leaders are in the Kansas Baseball Hall of Fame. And so today we will welcome 6 more. And our first inductee is one of the more gifted athletes in Shocker baseball history. And it seems like things really came easy for him at Wichita State. And he was drafted, he quickly got to the majors, and then some adversity hit. Waived 3 times, released once, before he hooks on with the Cleveland Indians, and then over the next 8 years, he is in a major league lineup every day, first with the Indians, then with the Los Angeles Dodgers. The Kansas Baseball Hall of Fame is proud to induct Casey Blake.
Not much of a leadoff hitter. Let's try to get on base here, I guess. You know, you guys with families, when you realize that your family is kind of over you. I got a wife and 6 kids at home, and couldn't get one of them to come down here with me. And my best buddy back home too, kind of in the same boat. He just said, Kansas Hall of Fame. He goes, boy, they must be struggling to find guys to put in there. So. Maybe it's not a big deal to them, but it is definitely a big deal to me. Certainly one of the highlights of my career. You know, you look at that the list of the past recipients, and it's just really mind-boggling at the wealth of talent that's on that list. It's humbling. Just certainly grateful for this honor to be a part, to have my name on that list is just. I just can't believe it. I can't really put into words just what that means. When I came down to Wichita as a freshman, you see you guys that came to Wichita ahead of you. You just aspire to be like them, and now to just have my name on the same list as some of those guys that I looked up to is really special to me. This wouldn't be a proper speech for me in Wichita if I wasn't up here and didn't have a chance to rag on some of my old coaches, Brent Kemnitz in particular. But I don't know if you guys were looking at. I was looking down that list of former inductees, and 2002 kind of was brought to my attention. It kind of struck me. I just have a question for the committee. How did Brent Kemnitz get inducted before Joe Carter? What's wrong with that picture? The truth is, I love Brent Kemnitz. I loved all my coaches. I just got a story about Brent. We had a really good relationship, Brent and I. Even though I was a position player, I felt like we got along well. Even though he tried to fight me in a practice one time, but that's a different story. When Brent was recruiting me, he came up to Iowa. We had a doubleheader, and I was going to throw the first game of the doubleheader. And I remember he was sitting up on the hill and spoken like a true young high school punk. I said, "Hey, Coach, you're going to like me as a pitcher, but I don't want to pitch in college." So. Brent, you missed your opportunity after I got done throwing. I appreciate you not telling me. It's a good thing I didn't want to throw in college. So I played the infield, and I think it worked out for everybody. But going to Wichita State, that's my connection with Kansas baseball. I played at Wichita State, obviously, and going to Wichita State, having that opportunity to play at Wichita State is one of the best things that ever happened to me in my baseball career. And that was back in the time when Wichita State didn't recruit in Iowa, and just the fact that the way I got to Wichita State was pretty amazing in itself, just kind of a stroke of luck that I was there. But it was one of the best things that ever happened to me. I was going into one of the top programs in the nation at that time, thanks to guys like Loren Hibbs and Jim Newlin. Those guys kind of paved the way for guys like myself in Shocker baseball. I got a chance to play for 3 of arguably the best coaches in the nation. Those guys are just studs. Love all you guys. I was able to be mentored as a freshman coming in by guys like Carl Hall, Joey Jackson, Darren Dreifert, Shane Dennis, and Jamie Bluma. Those guys taught me what it meant to be a good teammate and how to play the game. And just being a part of that Shocker program, we were just a blue collar program. And maybe weren't the most talented players, but we were just going to outwork everybody. We were just going to be tougher mentally. And I was able to just take the lessons that I learned on how to be a good teammate, how to work harder than everybody else, how to be tougher mentally, and I tried taking that and applying that to the rest of my playing career. And so for those lessons, I'm forever indebted to Wichita State. So for everybody involved in helping me get to Kansas, get to Wichita State, I just want to say thank you. And for all the people involved in this induction into the Kansas Baseball Hall of Fame, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right, and Casey's joined over here by Dick Sanders, and they're going to actually present him with the plaque and take a couple pictures. And while they do that, I might mention, boy, Casey's impact in the major leagues can still be felt. When he was traded from the Indians to the Dodgers, it was for two prospects, one of whom is Carlos Santana, who just signed a 3-year, $60 million deal with the Phillies. So pretty good bloodlines there. If you're not a big baseball fan, he is not related to the musician, Carlos Santana. Okay, our next inductee, I guess it's a little overdue, you might say. Larry Cheney from Belleville pitched in the major leagues more than 100 years ago. In 3 straight seasons, he won 20 games. Somehow he eluded the Kansas Baseball Hall of Fame until 2018. So Kansas Baseball Hall of Fame is finally proud to induct Larry Cheney, and to accept on his behalf is our resident author, historian, and Hall of Famer himself, Bob Reeves. You can clap.
Well, he was a giant in his day. He stood 6'2" and weighed 185 pounds at a time when the average major league player was about 5'8". And in fact, his first manager, whose name was Duff Cooley and was also from Kansas at Leavenworth, stood 5'8". Cooley had just finished a 15-year major league career and was starting to manage at Topeka in 1906 when this 20-year-old giant shows up as a catcher. But Cooley very quickly showed that he was a great judge of talent because he saw him throw. He said, "You're now a pitcher," and the rest became history. He did pitch 8 years in the major leagues. He won 116 games. He's one of only 5 people to win 20 games in each of his first 3 full seasons. And he did that with an injury. As your program points out, Zach Wheat hit a ball right back at his face. He stopped it with his hand. It broke his thumb, but more than that, it drove his hand into his face with such force that it also broke his nose. So he became a knuckleballer and a spitballer, and he learned everything but control. For 6 years, he led the National League in wild pitches, which ties him with 2 other pitchers, Jack Morris and Nolan Ryan. And in the 7th year, he lacked only 1 wild pitch of leading the league. Nonetheless, he won 116 games. He spent most of his career with the Cubs, and interestingly, 2 other members of this Hall of Fame were there at that same time, Claude Hendricks, the pitcher, and Joe Tinker, the infielder. So the Cubs sort of became our northeastern extension of the Kansas Baseball Hall of Fame early in the 20th century. After he played, he went to Florida. He operated in Orange Grove until he died in 1969. As Jim pointed out, we're a little late in admitting Larry to this, but it is a much-deserved honor for him, and we're grateful that he finally is recognized.
as Bob mentioned, so he has this injury. He turns himself into a completely different pitcher. And interestingly, he gave up a windup. He no longer pitched out of a windup out of his after his injury. By the way, the gentleman taking the pictures here is legitimate. He's not just a guy who wandered in. That is Carl Williams, and you saw him wander around. He takes a lot of great pictures, and we provide those to the inductees. So you could make a case for our next inductee as a player. You could make a case for him as a coach. When you add them together, it's pretty darn simple. He is one of the players who led Wichita State to its first ever college baseball World Series appearance in 1982. That same year, he set an NCAA record for runs scored, 125. I think back then you guys played, what, 700 games? Something like that? Yeah. In 1993, he became the head coach at Charlotte and has won more than 750 games and still doing it. Former Wellington Crusader, the Kansas Baseball Hall of Fame is very proud to induct Loren Hibbs.
How y'all doing? That's what they say in North Carolina. Yes, they do. If we were in North Carolina right now having a barbecue or a banquet, it'd be barbecue. You got Eastern North Carolina barbecue and Western North Carolina barbecue. I won't get all long-winded on that, but what a great honor it is to be here. This feels really good to be back in Wichita. It's been 26 years since I lived here. And again, just proud to be inducted in the Kansas Baseball Hall of Fame. Thanks to the advisory board members for including me in this great group. I want to introduce all the family members are here. We got a bunch of them. The whole Hibbs clan is here. My mother, Linda, and her husband, Buddy. You all know my mom. She's been around for a long time, and brought me into this world. My father, Loren, passed away 25 years ago, so Mom and Dad gave me the base that I have now, still rely on every day. Just to treat people the right way, the work ethic, all the things that really made me what I've had a chance to develop into came from them, and happy that Mom's able to be here along with Buddy. My brother, Lynn, is here, a longtime football coach in the state of Kansas, won multiple state championships. His wife, Lynette, and daughters, Lacey and Lexus. We got a lot of females in this family, so be patient with it. Our three children are here. Our youngest, Lainey, is a senior in high school, so we're trying to figure out where she's going to go to college at. She likes warm weather. And when the wind was blowing like crazy yesterday, she wasn't really excited about the wind blowing here, but we'll figure that out with her with college. Daughter, Erin, who was born in Wichita, graduated from UNC Charlotte and works at the Charlotte International Airport now. And our son, Tyson, who was also born in Wichita, played for 4 years in our program at Charlotte, played on multiple NCAA regional teams, and is now a firefighter in Charlotte. So that's the group. My wife, Lisa, is here. There was a time in my life, and I don't want to get too long-winded on you here, but there was a time in my life when I'd moved to Charlotte. I'd been there for about a year and a half, and things weren't going real good. I had gone through a divorce. I was living in a one-bedroom apartment with bunk beds for Tyson and Aaron. They're hanging out, trying to be a good father for them, trying to build a program at Wichita State with limited resources. And we were working like crazy to do the right thing and build it the right way there. And then on top of it, my father passed away at the same time, actually on a trip to Charlotte. And I can go every day when I go to work. This is a true story. Every day when I go to work, I can look up at the University Hospital and see when my father passed away. Man, that really gets you. That really gets you every single day for 25 years. So without this group, I wouldn't be here. Would not be here. And my wife, Lisa, is the glue that holds us together. I have not been able to run her off. I don't know why. When we were dating, she went on road trips. And Gene and Brent will appreciate this. We did bus, those long bus trips, and she would go and room with our manager, who was female at the time. And I would go on some Gene Stevenson, Brent Kimna trance, because those are the guys that molded me. and she still just kept hanging around. So we've been married for a long time. Y'all know from being in the business, you have to have a lifestyle that's conducive to being successful. And, without her, without this family group, I would not be able to do what we've been able to do for 34 years. So I'm spending a lot of time talking about them, but just appreciate them all being here. And it really does feel good to be back in Wichita. I've met people and got a chance to get reacquainted with people I haven't seen in 25 years. And it took about a minute and a half, and then it was just like it was regular old time. So it's really cool to be back here. I mentioned Gene. I mentioned Brent. Gene, thank you for the opportunity. Man, when I hear Casey talk and listen to him talk about the values, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. No doubt about it. The opportunity to play, when quite frankly, I wasn't very good. Gave me the opportunity to play, moved me to the outfield, the chance to develop as a player, chance to develop as a coach. When I first started coaching for Gene, he let me do everything. I was involved in fundraising. I'm involved in every single aspect of the program. And that helped me become a head coach when I was 30 years old. So again, Gene, I appreciate you, love you, and thanks for the opportunity. Brent used to rag me off when I was a position player. I mean that in a good way. We roomed together on the road once we started coaching. But the thing I respected most about Brent was the way he defended the pitchers and the pitching staff. I'm like Casey. I'm a position player. Pitchers keep away from me. We'll hang out after practice. But what I learned from Brent about developing and molding the pitching staff was invaluable once I became a head coach. So, Brent, I appreciate you too, very, very much. I was at the College Baseball Hall of Fame banquet in Lubbock a few years ago and was around some people that have been mentors of mine for a long time, Skip Bertman and Paul Maneri and Jim Hendry, and there was a bunch of us around the table, and they were talking. Skip was holding court like he normally does. And we got to talking about that run we had at Wichita State, from 1988 to 1992. And Skip looked directly at me and Gene and some other people and said, you know what, you guys are the best during that time frame. During that 5-year time frame, you guys were the best coaches, the best program. You competed at the highest level. You won a national championship. And I really took that to heart. And I'm, again, really proud that I was part of that, proud that I had the opportunity to be able to coach with both Gene and with Brent. Special time. Mike Warren, Mike Kennedy, John Dreifert, Dave Bingham, a lot of other people I've seen here today that, appreciate you guys and the influence that you've had over me over the years. Casey did a great job hitting leadoff man. Did a fantastic job. Thought the world of your dad. Just a great guy and obviously gave you the base to be successful. Wish we could have gotten a chance to maybe work together for a while, but I was on my way out as he was on his way in. So just proud of you, man, and what you've done to represent yourself in Wichita State baseball over the years. Dennis Walker, I have a tough time saying good things about umpires, so I'm not going to go there. But Dennis did a great job back in the late 70s, early 80s. It was pretty volatile. We had a lot of head coaches with huge egos. You go to Stillwater, and it's Wichita State and Oklahoma State, and there's probably going to be the benches clear. There's probably going to be a lot of things going on. And Dennis, you did a great job over those years of just managing the game the right way and making sure that cooler heads prevailed all the time. So that's about as good as I can get, Dennis. I'm sorry. That's about as good as I can do on umpires. Jim Newlin. I warned him on the way in. I got a story about Jim Newlin. Brent's going to laugh. Gene's probably going to laugh too. When I worked for Gene, the mode in the summertime was I would take Brent to the airport. I'd drop Brent off because he was going to Anchorage to be the pitching coach for the Glacier Pilots. So I had Brent's car for the summer, and Gene gave me a stipend, a cash advance. I don't know, Gene, what was it, like $150 or something like that? No, I'm kidding you. And I had to bring back every receipt, by the way, to Gene on these recruiting trips. So I'd go in the summer and I'd travel around, try to find players. Brent gave me a list. I'd go to Omaha, Kansas City, Springfield, Pueblo, Denver, all these places, and try to find players. And we'd already signed Jim in the early signing period. So it's the summer, and he's getting ready to come into Wichita State that fall. And I'm down in Woodward, Oklahoma, and Newlin comes out to throw. And this is no joke. His slot is like, I can't even reach that high. His slot is like throwing from back here. The ball's not getting out at all. The breaking ball is The command is And I'm like, this guy is never going to pitch for us. I'm thinking to myself, is Brent dating his sister, or what's going on here? So fast forward, Brent comes back from the summer, and I'm like, Brent, this guy, there's no way. He's like, Scooter, it's all right. I saw him in a more relaxed slot. I think I can help him with his slider. Okay, just fix it. Well, when Newlin played catch in the fall, it was hard to watch him play catch. It was not good. And the best thing that Jim did the fall, or his freshman year, the entire year, was he chased foul balls. That's the best thing he did. Every ball that went into X Stadium, they would yell Navin, and he would walk out the door and he would go and pick up the ball out of the grandstand. Or you know how the parking lot used to slope down towards 21st? Heaven forbid the ball hit the parking lot. It would like roll all the way down to Coke Arena. You know, you have to go get the ball. So, but to Jim's credit, his work ethic and him and Brent and the way they work together, and none of us would be here with the national championship ring if it wasn't for Jim Newlin and his development. And I know Wedge and PJ and Cedeno and Brumman and McDonald, all those guys get all this credit, and it's well deserved. But without Jim Newlin, we don't win a national championship, because he developed into the best closer in college baseball. Our team in Charlotte's going to be pretty good again this year. I'm asking Jim if he wants to come back and throw one more year, because the back end of our bullpen's a little shaky right now, so we got to find a guy. Just mentioned Charlotte again. None of you all have seen us play. We played Wichita State one time back in the day, back in South Alabama's tournament, and it was a competitive game, kind of a tough game to play, to be honest with you, because somebody was going to be mad at the end of the day. We've won nearly 800 games there. We have people that are good people. We have guys that grind it. And the best way I can describe the way we play is we have an old school mentality when it comes to playing. We're going to get after you. We're going to be aggressive. We have old school core values. We've got 9 core values that are part of our program. We're not going to deviate from those. And our guys know the way they're supposed to act and what they're supposed to do, and really proud. And I learned that here. I learned at Wichita State. We've kind of molded it as time's gone on. And then we've got a new school approach. And Gene, don't fall out of your chair. We actually play music during practice now. Yeah, football's been doing it forever. We actually have music going on during practice. We do things a little bit different maybe than some programs, and really try to connect with our players. So the 2 people that I was also wanting to recognize, Pat and Julie Cedeno. Pat could not be here today. I got a text message from PJ Forbes on the way up here, and also from Pat Cedeno. But PJ's mother, passed away last night, and PJ Forbes, man, it doesn't get any better than that dude. So they were planning on being here. They can't be here. But Pat and Julie Cedeno, Pat was our first pitching coach. He was crazy like me and moved all the way from this part of the country to Charlotte. And without him and Julie and their support over the 3 years that we were there on the front end together, we wouldn't have had a chance to build our program the right way. Teammates, Phil Stevenson, Joe Carter, Jimmy Thomas, all these guys are already inducted. Thank you guys. Thank you all for being here. I mentioned Wedge, Brummett, Mears, Forbes, Billy Hall. I looked down the list and all the guys that I've been blessed to be able involved in recruiting or coaching. Appreciate all you guys. And sorry for getting a little long-winded and a little bit emotional, but this means a lot. This place means a lot. And, as we all get older, I think that we appreciate it all a little bit more. So, again, thanks. I'm going to put another big smile on my face and get back on a plane to Charlotte tonight and get ready for practice tomorrow. But thanks for everything that you guys do. Thanks for coming. Appreciate the support. And, again, it's an honor to be here and be inducted into Kansas Baseball Hall of Fame. Thank you.
Some pretty good road roommates. If you roomed with Chemnitz when you were a coach, roomed with Phil when you were a player, that's not bad. Not bad at all. I'm sure no hijinks went on. All right, our next inductee is certainly a familiar name. His son, was inducted into the Hall of Fame last year, and we could go year after year inducting LaRoches into this Kansas Baseball Hall of Fame because they are a great baseball family. Now, Dave, the father, had some spectacular seasons out of the bullpen, and as a left-hander, boy, he would be a great commodity in today's game. Left-handers who get you to that 7th or 8th inning, but great relief pitcher who is also a great contributor to baseball in Fort Scott. And Dave's not able to join us today. His son Jeff will tell us why. Jeff, former professional pitcher himself, Kansas Baseball Hall of Fame, is proud to induct Dave LaRoche.
Hey guys, appreciate y'all being here. Dad had some prior engagements that had been planned for like a year out. He's down in Mexico. They live down there half the year, so he's disappointed he can't be here. But what I can say is he's incredibly humbled to be part of this class of individuals. It's an honor for him to be able to get something like this. It's really neat. He left me with a few notes here. Again, he's said he could be here. He said when Paul called him, he was a little confused because he assumed it was for one of his other kids, not him, to be inducted into this. So again, he's very excited about it. 14 years in the big leagues playing, another 35 coaching. I can tell you that Kansas has been a pivotal, epic part of everything he had to do with in professional baseball. Not only the state alone in its love of baseball, but it's the relationships you build with families like the Robertsons, Gene, and everybody else here that, everybody's a small world in the baseball aspect of things, and you end up developing some amazing relationships, and through that process, Kansas has brought some really neat lifelong friends for our entire family. So he's, that's one of those things that you just can't, you can't type up, so it's pretty neat. Let's see here, just trying to go over some of these notes. He accepted after playing for a number of years, he thought coaching would be significantly easier because you just had to sit there and point fingers and just basically make it simple. And he accepted the coaching job at Fort Scott Community College and realized when it was 2 a.m. and he's out there chalking lines and trying to figure out where the umpires are coming from, that it's not near as simple as he thought it was, and he had a new appreciation for what coaches have to do on a daily basis and what they deal with. And everybody in here can attest to that, has been part of that game. So his mom was actually born here in Wichita, so that it goes back in our family a lot of years, obviously, and we have a lot of ties to this town and this state in general, and we're pretty much ingrained in the state of Kansas at this point. So it's an unbelievable honor. Again, he is sorry that he can't be here, but he wants to thank everybody for what they're doing and everybody for being here, and that's all I got. So thanks, guys.
By the way, if you want to see something cool, I really would encourage you to go onto YouTube and Google, or excuse me, you're on YouTube. You can't Google and YouTube. Search in YouTube for Dave LaRoche, and you will find video of him when he was with the Yankees throwing his lob, which is an ephus pitch, or it kind of looks like a slow pitch softball. And there's amazing video of him striking out Gorman Thomas, and it's really fun to watch. And he became kind of a fan favorite in New York with the lob pitch. And also, Jeff, I want to mention, please give our regards to your brother Adam, who we inducted last year. And let me tell you, that guy came here, shook hands with everybody, did everything, gave a great speech, and he had the flu so bad he could hardly stand up prior to the thing. So thanks to him. All right, so we're going to go from middle relief to the closer role. And I don't even know if they called it a closer, back then, but they certainly do now. Jim Newlin led the nation in saves in 1989, as the Shockers do go on to win the national championship. He averaged more than a strikeout per inning, so that gives you the idea of the kind of gas that this guy's coming in with. So from Overland Park, the Kansas Baseball Hall of Fame is proud to induct Jim Newlin.
About damn time. I do want to thank the Hall of Fame and everybody in the committee for this great honor. It was truly completely unexpected, and certainly everybody's throwing around, being humbled. I'm certainly in that category myself. I wanted to say thank you to my family and friends that are here today. My number one fan ever, for any fan that would ever have a fan, is my cousin BJ, and I'm so happy he came and supported me and everything around my career. It was just so great. Jim, you're the best thing that's happened to her. So, Scott Martin's my dear best friend, and we laugh so much. We don't even remember what we laughed about last night, but we're sitting there crying, just laughing at just old times and jokes and just situations and stories. And Scott, you've always been there for me. I appreciate it. He was definitely the best thing that's happened to you. And your mom, Vicki, who was basically my second mom when I came from Overland Park to Wichita. I can't imagine how many home-cooked meals I had there. And it seemed like I would even just go over to her house without Scott and just start eating. So that was tremendous. I was really blessed to grow up with a really great childhood with a lot of great friends who just loved the game. And we were coached by great parents, great role models, I just feel very, very fortunate as kind of you develop it and just kind of grow into the game, and you don't really know if you're going to be able to be good enough to play in high school or to play in college or to play professionally. But those people in my life and those friends really mean a lot to me, and I'm still very good friends with all of them to this day. Had a great high school coach, Bill McDonald, won a state championship back in 1985, that's when I was throwing a little bit better, I think, when Brent finally came to see me. But that's kind of funny that that when I was a senior in high school or junior in high school, Brent didn't even come to see me pitch. To see me. He came to see Rodney Peete come play. You guys remember Rodney Peete was a quarterback for USC and played, in the NFL for 10 plus years. He came to Kansas City, Shawnee Mission South High School, because his dad got a job for the Chiefs, and so Brent wanted to see him play. Well, I happened to be pitching that night, and I think I pitched okay. He put me on a list. I think the story is that someone to watch out for the next year. Well, when he came back the next year, I lasted 1/3 of an inning. I gave up, I think, 5 or 6 runs. I walked guys, and I thought I blew my opportunity completely. But Brent called me that night. That was probably my first phone call, or first time I'd really talked to him, and thanked me for allowing him to get home at an early hour. It was he kind of put me to rest, and I think he actually offered me right then and there, which was fantastic. So my Wichita State career started right then. Kind of go into the fall. I was bad, guys. I mean, I was really bad. I know story is really funny because Brent really got ridiculed pretty bad. Like, why in the world did you recruit this guy? And I just kind of lost my way. I lost my mechanics, but I always had a good arm. I knew I always had a good arm. And those were the kind of things that Brent saw in me. And we were able to kind of rework some tools, do some different arm slot changes. All of a sudden that slider started breaking a little bit, And I still remember to this day, Gene and Brent calling me over to the opposite dugout when we were playing inter-squads and said, Jim, we're going to groom you to be a closer in this program. And it was great. I was like, cool, all right, I can do that. And, you know, you have to have the right temperament, that kind of like the right personality to have that role. You can't really let things bother you because you know, that can kind of fester and kind of go into the next outing and things like that. But Brent really kind of worked hard on building me up and kept telling me how good I was and how good I was and how good I was. And Scott Martin was telling me, dude, you were throwing so hard. I can't believe it. Eventually, I started believing it. And then that went right into really a great season in 1989 when we won the national championship. That was truly a special year. And it wasn't just me. I mean, we had so many good players. We had such good leadership. We had such focus because we had lost so abruptly and so the year before when we were right in position to win in 1988. But we kind of took it upon ourselves as a team that we're going to get back there. We're going to do everything we can to get back there. And boy, we started hot. I think we lost our first game that season, and then we won like 26 in a row. And then we were constantly ranked, I think, in the top 5 the rest of that year. But you know, when you play, I was fortunate to play for 7 years, and you know, I went through a lot of coaches. I went through a lot of pitching coaches, and sometimes you just have to click with the right guys. Sometimes you don't click with the right coaches, and that's what I kind of experienced when I got into baseball professionally. You know, I'm just very thankful and very fortunate to have 3 of the best coaches ever in the history of college baseball, in my opinion, with Gene and Brent and Loren. You guys were awesome. I mean, it was coming to the park every day, keeping everything loose. You guys worked so well together. It was a good cop, bad cop type thing. You know, Brent's always defending us pitchers, and Gene's kind of hooting and hollering about, well, just about everything, it seemed like. And Scooter's there just kind of being a friend to all of us and, you know, keeping everybody loose. But that was truly the best time of my life, in not only just with baseball, but with great friends and you know, the development, the things you learn. I really appreciate you guys very much. Thank you. You know, I wish my parents could have been able to come. They're both not doing really well, not really well enough to travel, but I know they'd be real proud. So certainly want to recognize my sons, James and Nicholas. I wish they could have been here too. They're in college and just busy, you know. But certainly my brother Mike, my sisters Shelly and Nancy have always been real big fans of mine, just always keeping me confident, keeping me pumped up, and so I want to reach out to them and just say thank you for their support as always. So it is truly an honor to go through something like this and be recognized with such a great crowd and great players, and thank you all very much. I really appreciate it.
So with these 3 Shockers inducted today, that makes 18 players from the Gene Stevenson era inducted into the Kansas Baseball Hall of Fame. Gene, you should be very proud. All right, our next inductee has argued with many people in this room, possibly even had them removed from the premises. By his own account, Dennis Walker has umpired 2,000 to 3,000 baseball games at all levels. It seems to me like you did that many games in the Missouri Valley alone. My gosh, that crew with Bob Homolka, Dennis Walker, Randy Wetzel and Phil Plants. I swear to God, I think they umpired every Shocker game I've ever been to. So actually, you know, through professional, semi-professional, college, university levels, Summer League games, National Baseball Congress World Series, Dennis Walker was there to umpire at the Kansas Baseball Hall of Fame. It's very proud to induct you.
Well, I'm going to try to be like Dick Sanders. I'm not very good at this, so I'm going to try to make it short and sweet. I know a lot of things I like to say. The statute of limitations is not over yet, so I better not repeat them. Gene, you know what I'm talking about. So I want to thank everybody here. I want to thank the Hall of Fame. It was a complete shock to me. I never even thought about it. I mean, it didn't even come across my mind that it was a shock. So, I'm here, and here's what we're going to do. I want to thank my family, my wife, my son, my granddaughter, my brother, his wife, and all my football buddies back here. We have a lot of good times and bad times for them. Them guys drank a lot of beer, I'm telling you that. A lot. They'll tell you someday about driving through the beer places in Texas, but they had a lot of fun. And I want to thank all the umpires I worked with, quite a few of them. I see a few here, not too many. All the coaches. Some of my favorite coaches are here. Gene, Dave. We got along pretty good most of the time. Well, once in a while we'd have some problems. But as a whole, we made it through it. So, and I don't see any of my old scouting buddies here, but some of them I don't see any of them in the crowd, but them guys that scouted, they helped the umpires a lot. They give you a lot of tips. Them boys were old, and they knew what was going on in this world, and they helped you. But I don't see any of them here, but I'd like to thank them for all of what they did. And I want to thank the NBC for letting me work 30-some years. Hutch Broncos, Hayes Larks, I worked there for about that long time. And I don't know what else to tell you. I guess I'm glad everybody come, and I'm happy I got this. And good luck.
Well, you tell me.
I was talking to one of Dennis's fellow umpires before this event started, and I was talking about what are your biggest memories, and he said, mostly we drank a lot of beer. So, there you go. By the way, Dennis is the 8th umpire inducted into the Kansas Baseball Hall of Fame. So, once again, congratulations. And, wow, I think this has been a great day. I hope you all had a good time, right? Carl is giving me the high sign, which means to remind all of the inductees, if you would, as soon as we break here, please come over here, take some pictures of you, a group shot with your plaques. So let's go over this one more time. You plus plaque over to the wall. Okay. Hey, if you have the opportunity, please sign up for our newsletter, and that way you'll be notified every year, because we'd love to see you back. The newsletter was recently named one of the top 5 newsletters produced out of my spare bedroom. So urge you to take a look at that. And most of all, You have been a Hall of Fame crowd. Congratulations again to our 6 inductees, and we hope to see you back next year. Have a great afternoon.